Right. You wait till I do something foolish and then
Yes, that's what I do.
then you do it. Hi guys.
I gotta change the
Oh my
exposure on
goodness.
that camera.
Oh my. Wow. So, the hair. Let's discuss the hair.
Get that out of the way.
I've been trying to grow it out because I want to do something different with it. And it seems that we have hit the 1970s football helmet stage. So if I can get a little bit further, I think I'll be okay. But I just got to make it through this because it's getting in my ears and in my hair, in my eyes. It's driving me insane. So I just need to get it a little bit longer and then my hairdresser can do something marvelous with it. So
There we go.
I'm just tired of it the way it is. So, yeah. So I have a platinum colored or steel
I'd
colored.
say platinum.
Platinum. Yeah. Okay. Platinum colored football helmet.
Iodized aluminum.
Iodized aluminum. There we go. We're looking for a descriptor for my hair. There it is. Iodized aluminum. I hope everybody's having a great Saturday. Ours has started out rather well. It is a snow day here. We're looking at about 10 to 12 inches today. About 25 centimeters, they say. But it is quite mild, so the snow is extremely wet and extremely heavy. But we have a beautiful fire on upstairs in the family room, dining room. So it's nice and cozy up there, and we have a big pot of gumbo on the stove.
Gumbo.
So it'll be a warm and toasty evening this evening. But this afternoon, we're going to paint. We're going to paint some flowers. Cattleya. This is an old pattern, a very old pattern. And it's one of my favorites. I have always loved the colors in it. I love Cattleya for one thing. And then it just has some fun techniques involved in it. So I thought you guys would enjoy it. However, the old pattern needed a serious update because most of the products and the colors that were in it are no longer available. So I kind of had to rework things a little bit, but here we go. We've got one all done and the pattern is up on the website. So if you'd like to paint along, we do have the e-packet up there. Shout out this week goes to the crafty DIYer, Denise Parks. In Mississauga, Ontario, up here in Canada. She's got a fabulous, fabulous website. She does a lot of home decor DIY, just really fun, easy decorating items. And Christmas, she's got some beautiful stuff. Wonderful kits, lots of supplies. She does quite a bit of decoupage with some really elegant napkins. And of course, she is a vendor for IOD, in the Iron Orchid Designs stamps. And I was on her site this week because I'm weak and I'm on a farmhouse kick. So check this out. This is from Iron Orchid Designs. What a fabulous, fabulous set of stencils. They retail about $39.95. I think they are. They're close to $40, but this is a great set. There are 5 humongous stamps in this. I'm just over the moon. I love these Iron Orchid stamps. They're beautiful. They're a little on the pricey side, but they're devised for home decor, for doing furniture and things like that. So they're a larger, excellent detail, really beautiful detail in these. And you can have a lot of fun with them. Makes them very, very versatile because of the size. They're not so big that you can't use them on smaller surfaces, but yeah. Misa going to have a lot of fun with these. So if you get a chance, you're surfing the net and you want to give yourself a little Christmas present, you can't really go wrong with DeniseParks.com because she's got some awesome stuff on her website. And check out her videos and her YouTube channel. She's got a really great YouTube channel. Lots of fun stuff on there. So I love that.
Lori is wondering if you'll be painting the lamb live in the future.
The lamb, yes.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing that one in the new year.
In the new year?
In the new year.
Right on.
Yep. So we're going to be doing the lamb, and somebody had asked me what we're doing next Saturday.
Are we spending time with our families and eating food?
We're going to be doing that too. I have a lot of cooking to do this week.
Where's my shortbread?
It's coming. That's on the agenda for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of shortbread. So we're going to be doing shortbread this week. All the baking gets done this week.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm making tortilla this week.
As per every year.
And the shortbread.
And creton.
And creton. Yeah, well, creton's already made.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So, but I'm going to make some tortilla this week. And Dominic wants to learn how to make those pinwheel cookies this week. So we're going to be doing that.
I thought she knew how to make the pinwheels.
Nope. So we're going to make the pinwheels and the shortbread. And then, of course, your favorite, the Rice Krispie Squares.
Shortbread.
Shortbread's your favorite cookie. Rice Krispie Squares with peanut butter and chocolate.
Those are good too.
They're all good.
Did you do a snowman mug?
Yes, I did do a snowman mug. He's right here. He's cute.
Snowman mug.
Snowman mug. Yeah, somebody asked me for a penguin, so that got me going too. So
I think it's creepy.
he is kind of creepy. He's hugging his cookie.
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's fun.
He's creepy.
Then again, well, his eyes aren't white. They're not red. They don't glow in the dark. He's not that creepy.
Can we put some...
You want neons on him?
Put some neons on that?
We can do that. It's been quite a week. I was a cover girl this week. I made the cover of Pixelated Palette. My little snowman, Let It Snow snowman. He's cute, fun, easy. He's a back to basics. Just, some very basic decorative painting techniques. And I think he's fun and an easy and a fast decoration to do. So, and when it comes to Happy Mail this week, oh my God. I got a ton of Happy Mail this week. I got to say thanks to everybody at Cupboard Distributing. A beautiful Amazon gift from Chris Hoy and everybody at Cupboard Distributing this week. Beautiful box of chocolates. So thank you, Chris and Lindsay and everyone at Cupboard Distributing at cdwood.com. Thank you so much. That was very sweet of you to think of me. And then I got a lovely little box from my friend Patrick. So he sent me this. Like, how cute is this? I got a wonderful little teacup for the holidays and a fabulous tin of tea. And I told him that I would put it to good use. So I made myself a cup today. So I haven't tasted the tea yet. It just smells so good.
You just want to sit there with the box open and just...
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Very citrusy?
Oh, like oranges and cinnamon and black tea. And oh, my. But it's very, very hot, and I'm afraid I'll burn the top of my mouth.
And then it's never going to taste
And then nothing will taste right. But yes, fabulous. I just love it. So, Patrick, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And that and just the amount of Christmas cards is just, I think I've gotten more Christmas cards this week than I've gotten in the last 10 years. It was wonderful. I've opened every single one. They're all on the entryway table in the front as you come into the foyer. I can't thank you enough for thinking of me. It's been wonderful opening the mail every day this week to best wishes and holiday wishes. It was fabulous. So thank you very much. What else was this week? There was so much going on this week. Just seemed like the week flew by. You've had events like crazy at the gallery.
Yeah, it's been busy.
It's been very busy. I spent a little time this week painting some more RAK pins. And then I was digging through, trying to clean out a drawer, and I came across a great many wood surfaces. Let's call it that. And I opened up a drawer, and it's all small things that I can be used for RAK. So I decided I would take a bag of those out and paint up a bunch. And then while I was sitting there doing that, it occurred to me that wouldn't it be fun just to stick them in with orders and whatnot. So I've started doing that too. So don't be surprised if you get some wonderful little
Goodies.
in your shipment. I found a bunch of these little mitts and I had some snowflakes. And so I made a bunch of little pins and they're fun. So super easy to do. Nothing elaborate. I just used one of those little knit stencils and a snowflake. Kept it simple. So I've been having fun and I handed out probably 200 of those this week. I did a little shopping this week and had some work to do. And so it took me in town as I was giving away pins and all that good stuff this week. So it's been a pretty busy week. And this week is not going to be any less busy. So today we're going to be painting Cattleya, which I love this piece. It involves some fun techniques for creating texture and color on leaves. So we're going to talk about that. And then, of course, I have a really simple way of painting these orchids that I think you're going to like. And, of course, it's going to involve some fun things in the background. So we're going to get started with the first step of that. And if you are ready, so am I. So this is my surface. This is a 6 by 12. It can be an 8 by 10. It can be, you can be whatever. If you can make the line drawing fit on it, it's all good. It doesn't need to be anything special. It would look pretty on a big square piece with a nice little decorative element in it. You could do all sorts of fun things with this design. It's pretty straightforward. In the pattern is this, and this is a reversed image. Just print it out with a laser printer or a laser photocopier. An inkjet will not work for this. Sad to say, I wish it would. But we're going to start with that and a little bit of matte medium. Matte medium is one of my favorites. I love this. If you don't have it, you can use a matte decoupage or a matte Mod Podge. Almost all of us have some of that in our stash, but I like using this matte medium. This one, it just works. For everything that I do, this one just works. And I'm going to use my fugly brush. And we're going to put down a coat of matte medium. A generous coat. You don't want it, gobs and gobs of it on there, obviously, but you want a nice even coat. Da-da-da. On your surface. And then you're going to lay your image into that wet medium. I am batting 1,000 today. And you're going to spritz both sides of your paper.
Fudly brush? No, fugly.
Fugly.
As in effing ugly.
Okay. I wasn't aware that needed clarification.
That's what fugly means.
Yes, that's what it means. And then while your paper is wet, you're going to lay this roughly centered in the middle of your board. And I do say roughly. It doesn't have to be perfect. It should be reasonably straight, though. There we go.
It is an oval encaustic?
Yeah, it's a 1-inch in oval encaustic.
Dynasty.
Yeah. So just press your paper into your surface. And then you're going to use your little mini brayer to make sure that it's well seated on the surface. Just like so. Now, you are going to get a little bit of that matte medium leak out from underneath it. Just wipe it away. Try not to get it on the back of your panel.
Fugly is actually a saying in the States too? Yeah.
I was a little slow this morning.
A little slow this morning.
Yeah, a little slow.
Getting up or...
No, just moving.
moving?
Just brain's
life
not
in
going.
general.
Life in general. Yeah. So I have really come to like these. I ordered some shop towels. And they shipped me the wrong thing. They shipped me a box full of these rags.
Which ended up being a great purchase.
And it would have cost more to send them back. So I held on to them, figured I could find a use for them. Well, I did, and it works beautifully for this. So these are just, these single-use or 3-use microfiber cloths. I'm going to get it wet with a little bit of water and wring it out so you don't have a ton of stuff on it. And you're going to wipe away the excess medium off of the panel, like so. Do it gently so that you don't scrub your paper off yet. And then this way, you don't have any of the matte medium on the paper. You don't want to get it on there because you'll never get it off. So, now, you can see that label right through the paper at this point because it's wet.
Mary Galliotto is asking, did you use a dry brush to apply the
medium?
The medium.
Yes. You're just going to have to make sure you wash it very well afterwards. So once you have that in and it's down nice and smooth, there's no ripples or bubbles in it, you're going to dry it. Now, you can let it air dry. Air dry will work just fine. But if you're in a hurry or impatient like I am...
You're spiking the microphone.
Oh, am I? I'm a little too loud for a change.
Soft-spoken lady is too loud.
Yeah. So you can let this dry or you can force dry it. I'm force drying it for the sake of expediency in this case. Now, someone had asked me why I spray the paper. Well, if you put the paper wet into the wet medium, you're not going to get as many blisters and bubbles and ripples in the paper because the moisture causes the paper to stretch. And you've all done it where we've laid a piece of dry paper into a wet medium and the paper wrinkles right off the bat. And it's hard to get those wrinkles out. So just use a wet paper instead. You just have to take a little more care with it, that's all. So, this is almost dry. This little rig, this gun, this heat it tool is just fabulous for this. Get a spot. So to make sure that it is good and dry, because we're going to wash this paper off. And I need the medium underneath to be well and truly dry before I attempt this. Otherwise, I'm just going to scrub it right off the surface. Don't want that.
Jessica was late. Gasp. I was busy wrapping gifts and lost track of time. It happens.
Yep.
And you're allowed to miss one or two.
We'll forgive you this time.
Well, yeah, for now. It won't be so easy on you next time, though.
Well, both Jessica and Linda got their gift this week.
Oh, did they?
Yep.
Good.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. And our 12 days of Christmas winners are beginning to get their prizes too, which is nice.
Awesome. All 50.
Like, just blows me away. I still have more.
I know.
Yeah. Which brings us to today's giveaways. That was a pretty smooth segue.
Yeah. About that.
Yeah, about that. They're a little heftier than usual this week because we have some goodies from stockade.ca. We have a beautiful surface from Southern Ridge Trading. And what else is in there?
You packed them.
I know I packed them. My brain shut off. Oh, yes, there's a 5-brush set of Dynasty Faux Squirrel brushes in each one.
There's 5 brushes in there?
There's 5 brushes and 2 surfaces. And there's, other goodies. We always put other stuff
Always
in there.
other good.
Yeah.
Mimi L, I did not get mine yet.
They're starting to arrive. I mean, with the holidays, everything is a little slow, so.
I was just telling my mother about the package that I'm trying to get shipped to a friend of mine. It's stuck in Carson, California. And it's traveling back and forth between Los Angeles and Carson. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be getting out of California. It's been there since the 15th of November.
No, the 26th of November is when it got to Carson.
Okay.
And now it's just been back and forth.
Oh, okay. Great. So our next step for this is to remove all of this paper from the back, and with the intent of leaving the image on the painted surface. So I have my cloth. It's quite wet, not drippy. I don't want it dripping everywhere, but it's quite wet. And we're going to moisten the paper again. And then we're just very gently going to wash the baby's face. Don't scrub the kitchen floor. Wash the baby's face. Now, the fun part about this particular piece is that even if you work a little too hard and you end up distressing some of this or wearing some of the image off, it's okay. Because the whole point is that it's going to look very vintage and very old-fashioned, and it works in your favor. So as you work in that little circular, you see the paper sort of balls up and wears away and exposes the image that has now been transferred onto the painted surface. So essentially, that toner has been stuck in the glue and then the paper has not. So you just work in a circular fashion with your wet cloth and remove that paper. I love image transfer. This is one of my favorite techniques. I've done some really fun projects with this technique. So I've had a lot of people ask me, next Saturday is Christmas Eve. And we are going to be going live.
I'll wear a hat.
He's nobody ever sees you. So you can wear whatever hat you want. So next Saturday, we're going to have a very relaxed Saturday.
What do we do?
We're going to do gift tags.
Cool.
Just like real gift tags, like tags they can use.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to have some fun with that. We're going to use some stamps and some stencils, and I will have a pattern sheet up for you, or pattern. But it's going to be fun. And just something really relaxed, nothing too strenuous, but just a fun way to spend an afternoon before all of the madness begins.
Renee needs reindeer ears?
No, he doesn't. I've seen what happens when he wore bunny ears. He's not getting reindeer hair. No antlers for him.
I still think it was funny.
It was funny, but...
What happens when you step up? What was it? How old was I when I did that?
21?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
Went shopping with Mom.
Yeah. Wearing 3-foot long pink bunny ears.
Yeah.
On Easter weekend. He's not getting reindeer antlers.
I'll wear them at work.
I know. I know what you went through, what you kind of humor you had when you had the bunny ears on. I'm afraid what will happen if you have antlers. Sadly, I have a pretty good idea because, we have a similar sense of humor. So how fun is that? Like, this is one of the reasons I like this mat medium, because it dries so hard. and it dries quickly. So it actually worked beautifully. So I've got the bulk of the paper off. And by the bulk, I mean like the heavy stuff is off. So it's an opportunity now to clean up my mess a little bit. See all those little bits of paper? So I'm going to clean that up. Good gravy, Marie.
I guess, I would guess instead of hoping he would prancing.
Hopping? He was prancing? No.
Oh, hopping. No, I was sitting in the shopping cart.
He was sitting in the shopping cart like a happy 3-year-old.
Yeah, high-fiving 3-year-olds.
Yeah, high-fiving all the other 3-year-olds.
It brought smiles to people's faces.
It did. There were a few people that wanted to call,
CFS.
And there was more than a
There's
few
no
people wondering if I forgot to take my medication that day.
It's hard to embarrass my mother. Because she can,
But believe me, he's tried.
I've tried really hard. Because she can fire it right back and embarrass me. And it's hilarious.
Always.
And I can always look back and laugh. I'm not traumatized by my embarrassment.
Thank God for that. So I'm going to dry this really quick. And when you do dry it, you're going to notice there's a little bit of what looks like a haze or a fuzz on it. That is residual paper, and we're going to get rid of that. But you don't want to scrub this too hard right away because you'll end up rubbing everything off. A good idea of where the... Then I'll work in circles.
That's what mamas are supposed to do. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Traumatize their kids.
So
Still washing
There
the
we
baby's
go.
face?
Pardon me?
Still washing the baby's face?
Still washing the baby's face.
I thought sooner or later you'd get frustrated and just start scrubbing.
Well, there comes a point where you can just use your fingertips because now you can feel where the paper is. And as I said before, if you're working along and you end up distressing it, it actually works in your favor. Because we don't want this to look absolutely perfect. We want it to look a little aged and a little worn. Because otherwise it just might as well be a sticker. I love image transfer. It's such a neat finish.
Okay, we got a question from Tina.
Hi, Tina.
She got a free gift from Decor when she placed her order.
Woohoo! Well done.
Awesome. Can Tracy suggest any use for glossy decoupage?
Yes. Glossy decoupage is fabulous. And let me tell you, you can decoupage candles, the outsides of candles with glossy decoupage. Just using the top layer of your favorite napkins. It makes really fast and easy projects. It's a fun way to decorate almost anything, really. I love the gloss, particularly for decorative items, like things that you're going to put, like hang on the Christmas tree, or things that need to get a nice wipe down every once in a while. It's fabulous. I love glossy decoupage. It will also do kick-ass image transfer, let me tell you. You're just going to have a nice shiny finish when you're done.
And Tina's second question is, I ordered detail brushes.
Excellent.
Is it important to keep them in the little straws?
No, get rid of the little straws. The reason is this.
Store them bristle up.
Yeah, store your brushes bristle up. Make sure they're dry before you do that. Those little plastic straws that they put on the ends of your brushes are meant just to protect them during shipping. When you get them, take that off because you're more likely to damage your brush trying to put them back on. So just throw them out. There's no need to keep them.
Cool.
And a good brush roll will help protect your brushes too.
Yes. Good brush roll. Any suggestions for a good brush roll?
Actually, there's several. The one I like the most is that the Royal Brush one that we usually do for giveaways.
Yeah.
I really like that one because one, it's rigid, and two, it has nice spacing for your brushes, and it holds a ton.
There you go.
And it protects them nicely. Okay, I'm actually really happy with this image transfer. So, there we go. So I'm going to dry this one last time. That should tell me if I've gotten all of the paper off. It feels like I have. And believe me, you can feel it. It feels rough. So I'm going to dry this real quick. That actually transferred almost too perfectly. I have a little spot here where it wore, and here, but a couple of little spots, but honestly, nothing to really worry about. And in case you're wondering, cloutier arctique pour bottier, mouchoir, foulard, corset, blouson, pantalon. This is ladies' delicates.
Underwear.
and accessories.
Yep.
Like,
Underblouses and...
Yep. A mouchoir is handkerchief.
Modesty veil.
Yeah. There. Alrighty. I'm happy with that. That works. So once you have all of that paper removed, and you can tell because it's going to you'll feel the fuzzies. A little bit there. There we go.
Holy poop, that's a mouthful.
So I'm going to grab my fugly brush, and we're going to put a coat of the matte medium or the decoupage medium right over top of this. Comme ça. So you want to make sure that the whole thing is well sealed in there. And then I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to cross hatch over everything. I just want to create a little bit of brush texture back there. And you'll see why. So you don't need to have a ton of it on there, but we want to create just a little bit of texture. Most of the time we're trying to get rid of the brush marks. In this case, I want to retain some. So I'm putting a nice generous coat on, but I want some of those brush marks to remain. There we go. And then we're going to dry this and we are ready to start colorizing our background. I love how this matte medium dries very quickly and you can force it without causing any problems. Such a pretty piece. Now, the image I got from the Graphics Fairy, one of my favorite websites. Karen has an absolutely fantastic website. Tons of free printables and image transfers that you can download. There's so many images on there that you can use. And in most cases, she already has them reversed for you, so you don't have to work too hard with it, and especially if you're not familiar with doing that on a computer. She's fantastic. She also has a VIP. If you use a lot of this type of thing and do a lot of computer artwork, she has a VIP membership subscription. It's fantastic. I've been a member for a few years. I love her website. Tons of great ideas, lots of really great articles. It's an awesome website. So if you want to go and check it out, just go to thegraphicsfairy.com. There we go. It's nice and dry now. So there we are. Image transfer, the easy way. I love image transfer. It's versatile. You can do all sorts of fun things with it. Dress up your, some of your flower pots, whatnot. You can add it to paintings like we're doing in this case, create backgrounds. It's a really fun way to do some really simple Christmas ornaments too. Just base coat some simple ornament blanks, find a comparable image, a pretty little holiday image, and you can image transfer it right on there. And then you can colorize it after the fact if you want to. So there's all kinds of fun ways that you can play with image transfer. And this is one of my favorites. I love this big label. I just think it's so pretty. And it makes for a really nice background. So we're going to be doing, this is the piece that we're doing. And the first thing that we have to do is develop all of this dark edging and background. And this is where that cross hatching comes into play with the way I put that matte medium on. This helps you create this really vintage and rustic looking finish back here. And there's a couple of different ways you can do it, but I'm going to show you how to do it with this. You can do it with a soft cloth. You can do it with a high-tech applicator. You can do it with a brush, but we're going to show you how to do it with this because I have this and it's already wet and we might as well. So I have my favorite color, asphaltum, and I have soft black. I love these two colors for this type of thing. I've used light buttermilk or buttermilk for my background, but I wanted to show you something. I've got a little bit of, that's honey brown. I wanted a little bit of raw sienna. Got a little bit of raw sienna on my palette. And I got my Jo Sonja's Fast Dry Glaze. And we're going to wet our cloth with a little bit of that Jo Sonja's. I'm going to use a little bit of raw sienna on this first. For a couple of reasons. When I did the first one, there's a couple of things about it that I didn't like. One of the things I didn't like was that it wasn't as warm as I would like it to be. That's just me. I'm a big fan of warm. So I'm just going to go over mine with a color wash of raw sienna. That's it. Nothing fancy. And that's it. Just one thin coat. And oh, look. See, this one I find is a little too white. I wanted to warm it up a little bit. So I wanted to throw on a little bit heavily thinned raw sienna. And I'm going to dry it so that it doesn't look quite so. There we go. Excellent. And then our same applicator. I keep it wet with that Jo Sonja's. You need to keep it wet. You can do this with water too. If you don't have the Jo Sonja's, you can do it with water, but I like the glaze. So I've got two little puddles. I'm going to start with the asphaltum. And this always scares people when I do this. A little bit of asphaltum. To me, it's a little bit. To everybody else, it's, a bucket. But for me, it's a little bit. And I'm going to start in the outside corners. And I'm going to work in a circular fashion all the way around the outside edge. Just like so.
Sorry.
Frog in your throat?
Yeah. Is your cloth damp?
Oh, yes. It's very damp.
It's wet.
It's wet. I've got a fair amount of glaze in it. You can use just water, but I'm using a little bit of glaze. And I'm going to dry this. We're going to do this in layers. So now that I've got that dry, I'm going to pick up a little bit more. And the cloth is damp. You don't have to re-wet it unless the paint is just dragging. If it's not catching, then. Now, I want my upper left corner to be the darkest part of this. So that's where I'm going to focus the bulk of my color application. And I'm going to do the same thing in the lower corner, lower right corner. So, comme ça. And again, I am being very gentle about this. I'm not using heavy pressure. I don't want to use heavy pressure.
Donna Shepherd says, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, a joyful Festivus. It's a thing.
It's a thing, I know.
It's a recognized holiday. This year it falls on December 23rd.
Okay.
Kwanzaa starts Boxing Day.
Portion to be the lighter value. You want to keep it lighter towards the center. And with good reason. You went to all the trouble to put this image transfer on. You don't want to hide all of it.
Is there a special cloth or just a paper towel will do?
You can use paper towel or shop towel. I'm using one of these little painter's cloths and the only reason I'm using it is because I had it.
Can you use a sponge?
I have used a sponge, but I find they're a little harder to control.
Apparently, she also says, my paper towel leaves crumbs.
Yes, that's it. Paper towels tend to fall apart when they get moist. So I like to use either, blue shop towels or, a cloth like this or an old t-shirt will work too. Just an old white t-shirt, something that's not going to transfer color. So there we go. Got a second layer on there. I'm liking it.
Whoa. Good morning from Brisbane.
Good morning.
It is 3:40 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
And she couldn't wait to see this live.
Okay.
Yvonne Diane?
Yvonne Chapman. Yvonne, there's something coming your way.
Uh-oh.
I don't know how long it's going to take to get there, but there is something coming your way.
Hopefully he gets there.
There. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. Now we have the placement for our flowers is going to go sort of diagonal across here. So we need a nice rich shadow in this corner. So I'm going to take some of that soft black. And this one is very scary because it's such a dark color. And I'm just going to put a little in this corner. Scary, yes? Terrifying. And then directly opposite, lower right corner, I'm going to do the same thing. Just a little smaller. The soft black is also always scary.
Got somebody asking if this pattern is available on your website.
It is.
Yes. And yes, you'll be able to watch this live again on YouTube.
Yep. It will be on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to a little bit of that soft black along the edge, just a little. I don't want a ton of it on there because it is dark and I don't want it that dark. So I've got a nice rich corner up here. It's reflected down here, just a little smaller. I have a nice warm and open area in the center, and we are ready for our next step. I'm liking it. I think it's working out quite nicely. Now, this would actually be pretty all by itself. You could do 2 or 3 different labels and it would be pretty all by itself. But it makes a great background for a big range of things. So I did orchids, but you could do a spray of daisies over top of this. It would be just as pretty. Or sunflower or whatever. You could put almost anything over top of this finish and it's going to look really, really nice. And this aged edge just gives this, you know, it really does have a nice look to it. So, because we are painting these orchids, I need to find my green. I have some antique green. Little bit. And I have some plantation pine.
Very cold in Arizona.
Not an oxymoron.
Cold in Arizona?
How the heck does that happen? Plantation pine. And we're going to build a nice area of greenery on here. I'm going to find a relatively clean spot on this cloth, maybe, if I can.
I would say it's cold in Arizona.
Why?
It's only 10 degrees.
Brr. Yeah, that's cold.
Celsius.
10 degrees Celsius? That is burr. For Arizona.
For Arizona, that is very burr.
So I'm going to take a little bit of that antique green and we're going to build up a little color up here. I just want a green tone. I don't want to have, 10 tons of it. And we're going to work diagonally to about here.
If I did a different background, could I transfer the flower image the same way?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I just put a light wash of green almost diagonally. And then I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of plantation pine. I'm going to dry this first so that I don't wash it all off. Now we need a nice dark area up here for these leaves. So I'm just going to color wash a little bit of that plantation pine right over top of that soft black. Oh, I love this color. And I'm just putting in a little bit, like so.
That really pops out on the camera.
Yeah, it does look nice. So it's not a perfect shape. It just sort of meanders down because this is going to support our orchids. And I love plantation pine. It's just such a rich green. And because it's transparent, it doesn't kill off everything, but we get nice variation. There we go. And see, now I've got a nice dark corner up here for our orchids. And then that little bit of green comes down. Comme ça. And we are ready. So dry this really well, and then you are ready to trace and transfer your flowers on. Now, I think that this would make such a pretty background for a variety of different florals. In this case, we're using orchids, but you could put almost anything in. And the only thing you ever have to keep in mind is, that corner is your darkest element, and that's going to be where the bulk or the body is. So, where your branches and whatnot would be. So if your flower is one that starts from the ground up, then, you go in the other direction. So all this green would be down here. So I have a nifty little trick that I'm going to show you. Now, I want these orchids to fit nicely into that corner. There we go. And I wanted my orchids to really go quite diagonally. There. So essentially these two little buds down here are going to be closest to that brighter area. So I'm just going to that down. We're going to tape the line drawing in place, and then I'm going to show you a nifty little trick. And we have all done this where we're tracing something on a dark surface. So we're going to use a light graphite paper. I'm using white for this so that I can see it on that darker value. And then keep in mind where it's going to get light. And it's going to be light right about here down. So this is where you grab your black graphite. And you're going to slide the black graphite all the way down to the bottom. Like so. So I have 2 layers of graphite. And because I put the white one down over the dark area first, and then the dark one over top of it, so that it overlaps on the lightest area, while I am tracing, I'm going to have the white on the dark and the dark on the light. So you're not pulling your hair out trying to line up line drawings again to get a dark graphite paper on. So I'm using a white, my white gel pen, this 0.38. I can't say it often enough. I absolutely detest tracing things on again. So I have a tendency to use tools that will allow me to do things the first time, and that's it. Because I don't like having to repeat things. So I like these red gel pens because I can see where I've been. And it makes my life a whole bunch easier. And this way I always know when I've missed something. So, firm pressure. Remember, you're working on top of fresh paint, so you don't want to press so hard that it leaves an indentation. But you do want this graphite to transfer, so. And yes, those little lines, try to put those in. They're going to help you in the end. Now, I have a really neat technique for doing this type of leaf. It's a little more detailed than what we usually do, but that's okay. We're going to be doing something that gives you a slightly different look.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
Did you find a picture of a puppy? That's usually what generates that sound.
Yeah, I was looking at the Aramocto SPCA.
Oh, did you see that?
His name's Whiskey.
Whiskey, yes.
The face.
I know, she got a sweet face. Very high energy, apparently.
Well, yeah, there looks to be, I'm guessing, Border Collie and Shepherd in there.
Yeah, I know, she's got a sweet face.
She's got nothing but work dog in her.
Yeah. So, I'll just get this traced up real quick here. I don't usually like doing all of the tracing while we're live because, I don't know, it just seems to use up a lot of time, but I think in this particular case, there's so much to do in that background. But this isn't going to take that long. We're almost done.
I'm not getting any of the YouTube stuff. Am I missing out on the YouTube conversation?
I can't get the YouTube chat box on my iPad, so for some reason, I don't know why.
Norma is wondering if you can erase the lines from graphite paper. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I use this. This is a Factus Black. I've had a lot of people ask me about this eraser recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I love my Factus Black.
I may have missed this, but with the graphite paper, can you erase the lines, or do you have to use a special graphite paper?
Oh no, this is an erasable graphite paper. There's a couple of different ways to get graphite paper off of a surface, but we're going to show you how to get it off of this one. Ta-da! So, on the darker outline, I've got white graphite, and on the lighter outline, I've got dark graphite. And I have completed flowers. I didn't miss anything. Amazing.
No, Miss K, it's not a stamp. It's an image transfer.
Yeah, it's an image transfer. Although, if you have a stamp like that, a stamp would work too. Yep. But I'm a fan. I wanted to show you guys how to do this technique because it's a fun one. So this one is going to be a pretty easy paint. I think you guys are going to be surprised. It's not all that difficult. I'm going to get a little bit of buttermilk or light buttermilk on my palette, either or.
Do you carry the black eraser?
I have the Tombow black eraser, does the same thing. So white on these orchids, I'm going to use a round brush to base in my orchids, one petal at a time. And you're going to leave a little space. I'm a firm believer in that little space. I'm trying to see. So this little bit of light buttermilk or buttermilk inside here is going to do a couple of things. It's going to give you a nice base to work on so that you're not torturing yourself trying to cover up all of that black ink that's back there, all of that image transfer, so that we get nice opaque flowers. So I do each of the petals individually. I'm trying to see. Good gravy, Marie. The line drawing is nice and clear, but my eyeballs are not.
Let's go to St. John.
Why?
Look.
No.
Look.
No. Oh. I want one.
That is Cash, a.k.a. Cashew.
Cashew? I love it. It's either because he's a nut or...
Cash is a lab mix.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's the downside.
But he only weighs 20 kilograms.
Oh, that's not bad. He's not a big boy.
No. So I'm thinking he's mixed with a pit bull.
Yeah. He looks like it with those ears.
Yeah. And then there is Quill. Quill is more my speed. High energy Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
Shepherd Roddy mix.
I like that. Okay, so I managed to get, this was the one I was struggling with. Eyeballs are not happy. So, don't forget, got to do those two little buds down here. And then we're going to base out our
Reminds me of Duke. That is a Mastiff Shepherd.
Yeah.
Shepherd Mastiff mix. He looks like Duke. He's 8 years old.
Aw.
He's an old guy.
Needs a forever home.
Large dog.
Yep. I saw Whiskey the other day. These are the things I should not be doing at Christmas time.
Pitbull Husky mix. Named Luna.
Oh.
Believed to be 1 to 2 years old. Waiting for the image. Look at the face.
Oh, what a sweetie.
Yes, Jessica, I'm looking at puppies.
He's looking at puppies. Neither one of us should be looking at the rescue sites this time of year because we're both like...
Well, the fact that there's only like 3 dogs at the St. John, 2 at the Oromocto, and 1 at the Fredericton.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. That means people are adopting.
Yeah.
And not only that, the influx of dogs from the hurricane that they had, either they've been sent back home to their families, or they've been adopted.
Or they've all been adopted, yeah.
So, which is awesome.
Yeah. It's nice when you see the shelters don't have that many. We have no-kill shelters here, so...
Renee, are you trying to get a Christmas puppy? If I get another puppy...
It's going to be a Mal.
It's going to be a Malinois. And it will be a work dog.
Yeah.
Not so much a pet. It'll be a dog that I work with on the regular.
Yeah.
Even though, yeah, you can have a Malinois as a pet.
Yeah, but not the purpose. So I just have a little bit left to base coat here. I whoopsied. My eyeballs are not happy today. They're dry and tired. Because I spent half my time like cleaning out closets and drawers this week. Caused a great deal of consternation.
Oh, Linda's got a good one.
What's that?
I had a worker at the casino ask for a pin for a nut. He says he'll wear one if someone paints it for him.
Like a nut?
Any ideas what can be done as a rack for a guy?
Oh, you know what? Men in general don't wear a lot of pins, unless it's a pin like for a baseball cap or something like that. But you know what? Anything tool shaped will go over big, like hammer shape, shaped like a fish, little trout, bass, things like that. Things that are related more to that. Baseball bats, turn round ones into baseballs, put their favorite team logo on it, things like that. Or favorite vehicle, little pickup trucks and motorcycles, stuff like that. Things that appeal more to their tastes.
Your one coat seems to cover better than mine.
It actually is one thin coat. It's not all that opaque. So once you have your flowers, then you're going to start doing the same thing to those leaves. You're going to do that with a little bit of antique green. Now there are 4 layers of paint going over top of these leaves, so they do not have to be absolutely perfectly opaque. Don't kill yourself or drive yourself nuts trying to get them that way, because they don't have to be.
What will be his job? His
or hers.
His or hers?
Yeah, the puppy.
The puppy? Completely depends on their demeanor and their energy level.
So Dot was perfect for search and rescue. And...
yeah, she was too small for takedown.
Yeah.
Even though that's what I wanted to get into.
Yeah.
That's a lot more fun. And you get to connect with your dog a little bit more intimately.
Yeah.
But Dot had a habit of using her nose a bit better than using her teeth.
Yep. She still does.
She still does. She's great at finding tennis balls.
She got me so good. She knows. I came home after doing some Christmas shopping this week, and she knew there was something in that bag for her. And it was so funny. She dragged my husband halfway around the house trying to get to that bag.
She's got a nose on her.
Oh, she does have a nose. But you can be anywhere, and that dog will find a lost tennis ball or whatever. It doesn't matter where it is.
Yep.
It's like she tunes into it, and off she goes. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we go to the soccer pitch.
Yeah.
And she'll find a tennis ball out in the bush.
Yep.
It's probably been there for a decade or two.
Yeah.
She found it.
Oh, yeah. That nose is impressive. It made her really good at search and rescue. So I'm just putting a quick coat, antique green, on top of these leaves. And then we will be ready for all of the fun stuff. Because that's what I call it. Anything over and above this is the fun stuff. The base coating is a necessary evil. That's all. That's all it is.
But if I do train up another dog, it'll most likely be for explosives.
Joy.
Yeah. It's just, that's the next progression in developing my training.
Yeah. There we go. So we have leaves.
'Cause it'd be the first time I have to train for multi-scent.
No.
I've never done multi-scent. I've done singular scent.
So I'm going to dry this, and then we are going to get started on some fun stuff. So we're going to start with the leaves on this one. So there's several layers that we're going to do on these. I chose to use a color called foliage green because I love that green. And I do have a little bit of warm white or the light buttermilk on the palette. And so we've got some plantation pine or sap green, or we just need nice dark green. Black green will work too.
Cool. I feel sorry for the decoy. Yeah, there's a lot of control involved in shut sound.
Mm-hmm. So leaves. The first thing that we're going to do for these leaves is to shape them. And we're going to do that by putting in our shading. So I'm going to start with a little bit of plantation pine. And you're going to thin it out a little bit. We want this color a little on the transparent side. So to shape these leaves, we need to get up underneath these petals. Just like that. We need to get some shadows in there.
Raffin starts his training to be a therapy dog
Nice.
in February.
Right on.
Right on. I'm cheering for Raffin.
So we're going to separate these leaves a little bit and separate them from the flower. So we have to lift them away a little bit. So you will notice this is not, we're not talking about like absolutely perfect floats here. We're just getting a little darker value in there. That's all. Oopsie daisy. Little darker than I intended, but that's okay. So this just separates and lifts those petals away from the flowers a little bit.
What's a therapy dog?
Oh, therapy dogs are used to help people recover, whether it's emotionally, from physical trauma, what have you.
Yeah.
Therapy dogs are amazing.
Yeah. Emotional support animal. Could just be there to... For some reason, dogs have this amazing ability to know when your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up.
Yeah.
They know these things.
Yeah.
They know what you smell like when you're stressed, when you're hitting an anxiety peak. So they train these dogs to act a certain way when those things happen.
Yeah. And to help you.
Yep. They usually just like to cuddle.
Yeah, they'll snuggle up. But it's interesting that they know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got that first shading in. And then now I have to shape these leaves a little bit, which means I have to exaggerate that curve. So this leaf curves, so I'm going to put that first shadow in that follows the curve of that leaf. You always have to be aware of how the leaf curves. And this one. And this one curves the other way, like that. And this one curves up. Because remember, this one is going that way, so this one is going to curve this way.
Deb.
Which Deb?
Bloomfield.
Oh.
My therapy dog had a nervous breakdown after listening to me.
Therapy dog needed therapy by the time.
Yeah, the therapy dog needed a therapy dog.
So I've got all my shadows in, except this one. I forgot one. There we go. So I've got my shadows in. So that establishes how all of my leaves curve. Now we need some foliage green because we're going to start by putting in a few strokes. Now this is going to be, oh my God, don't shake it so hard. I got paint everywhere.
You've done that before.
Shake the bottle with
the cap open and it sends paint all over the place.
Yeah, I just did it again. Yeah. So I've got a little bit of foliage green on my brush. And we're going to start with, I'm thinking this leaf back here. And we're going to start that comma stroke at the center line. Not on it, but just at it. So we're going to put 3 comma strokes in. This is going to look really rough for a while, so don't panic.
Oh, see, that's the difference. Your grandson has a service dog, a medical service dog.
Yeah.
Not a therapy dog.
Yeah.
If anything medical related, so if like seizures, diabetes, celiac now, you've trained dogs to sniff out gluten.
Yeah.
Those are service dogs.
Yep.
They provide a medical service. I worked in the industry of working dogs. They do provide a service. They're classified as a service dog.
But not individual service dog.
Not an individual service dog.
Yeah.
In Canada, we actually have the law set up so they can distinguish the different type. Working dogs don't get the same as medical service dogs.
Yeah.
So you can't bring them into public buildings unless they're working.
Yeah, unless you're, there with a warrant.
Yeah. Medical service dogs for seizures, diabetes, and so on.
Yeah, they have access.
They have access. Therapy dogs, sadly, do not get granted the same access as medical service dogs.
Yeah.
Under the law.
Yeah.
That completely depends on where you go.
So, this is how I'm building these leaves. These are just really loose comma strokes. And I'm using that little shadow that I established the first time around as my basis. So that's the center line, my guide for where I start my stroke. So these are going to look very rough for a little bit. So when I come down here, I start at the line and then they curve out towards the edge of the leaf. Like so. They don't have to be perfect. Make sure your paint's nice and thin so that it flows off of the brush.
I agree. I think every dog should be allowed everywhere.
And they probably will be when their owners are all as well trained as the dogs are.
Yes.
So I have all of my leaves have gotten their first stroke. And they look really chunky. But they won't forever, I promise.
Dot never went into a pet store until she was close to 19 months old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she had manners then.
Well, she has manners now.
She does. But by then, you had trained her to have
Well,
manners. She was well behaved and well socialized by then.
Before that, it would have been too much for
Yeah. So, we've got our first stroke in. So I'm going to take that same foliage green and I'm going to add just a little bit of the buttermilk to it. Just a little. I just want to change the value slightly. And we're going to overstroke these a little with a smaller stroke. With that lighter value. And again, they're going to look really chunky for a bit. It's a smaller stroke. This is why I said don't worry too much about getting those leaves fully opaque, because we're going to put so many layers on. So now we've got another layer on. So you should see all three colors, the antique green, the foliage green, and then this lighter value that you just made. And we're going to dry that. And now it's time to shade them again. So you have that first shading in. All that did was establish that it's underneath something and that it created the direction of the leaf. The curve in the leaf. So now we're going to really start to shape these leaves.
All right, I'm going to zoom in quite a bit more.
Okay.
So they can see what's going on. There you go. Leave it right there.
So I'm going to come back in with that plantation pine. And I'm going to do that same shading that I did the first time. I'm going to deepen it. And then down that center vein. And this is where those leaves really start to take shape.
Are you using a round on the leaves?
Yep, I'm using a number 4 or a number 5, depending on the brand. With the black gold, it's a 5.
If you're afraid to take your dog anywhere, like a pet store, like he might pee on things, or if he's reactive to people or other dogs, don't take him in there until you're confident that he won't be reactive. There's nothing wrong with that.
Added stress on you and them.
Yep. If you don't have to, don't.
Yep.
I don't take Dot every time I go to the pet store.
No.
Even though she would love me to.
Yeah. Yeah, she would.
If I'm just there to pick up food, I don't need to bring the dog.
Dot doesn't go to the pet store with me. She just waits for me to get home because she knows that if I go to the pet store, there's
a toy.
There's a toy.
Which I have to go through all those toys.
Dad did that this week.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's a lot of toys. That is a spoiled dog.
She is spoiled. She's a good puppers.
She's a good puppy.
And Christmas is coming and her stocking is full, so she keeps eyeballing the stocking, which just cracks me up.
Her second bark box is on the way.
A Christmas bark box.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see what's in
January apparently is aliens.
Aliens. Okay.
Theme is space. or sci-fi.
Yeah. Well, we already know what she has done to the Mandalorian, so.
Not spoiled, well loved.
Yes. Oh no, she's
Well loved.
she's well loved. So there is that second shading. You can really see how those leaves change when you put that shading in. So I'm going to dry that. I love how quickly these leaves change from just being, a whole bunch of strokes to how quickly they start to really look like leaves. And I love the texture it creates. So I've got a little bit of sprout. That's not sprout, that's margarita. A little bit of sprout. I like this green. It's a little on the yellow side. And I'm going to blend that out. This is a highlight color. And so it's going to go on these parts here. So just a nice little float on that chisel edge. I love how this sprout just adds nice little punch of light to the edge. And I'm going to do the same thing to the outside edge of that leaf. It is fairly transparent, so it's going to be fairly easy to work with. So now you know why I didn't need to have a fully opaque base color for this, because we got a lot of colors going over top of this. And we're not done. So center vein, look at that highlight, makes it pop. It's transparent enough that it doesn't bury everything, but bright enough that it gives us a nice punch of highlight. Come over to this one.
Dogs whined the entire way from Georgia back to Maine.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that would probably be a form of motion sickness.
Yeah.
They're probably in some sort of discomfort.
Poor puppy dogs.
Yeah. I would suggest a CBD chew or something like that before you put them in the car.
Yeah.
So that way they can chill. And it helps their gut.
Yep.
So
it's good for their tummy.
It's good for their stomach. Make sure they're well fed and well hydrated before the ride. And frequent stops to pee.
So we've got our highlight in there. A little bit of one anyway. Not too strong. I don't want it to be glaring. Because we are going to come back and do a little bit of work on these leaves. But I wanted to show you something really fun that just gives these leaves a bit more light. Now the color is Red Alert. It's an in-your-face orangey red. I'm going to put a little dab of that on my palette. And I'm going to pick up just a tiny bit on my brush. Just a tiny bit. And blend it out well. I am gifted today. So let's try that again. I managed to pick up all of the antique green on the other end of the brush. So you're going to blend this out well so that you just have a little bit of that transparent red in the end of your brush. And you're going to put a little float of that red onto a couple of these leaves. I like doing it on an edge. It doesn't have to be. It can be almost anywhere. But I like it on the edge of my brush, or on the edge of the leaf. It does a couple of things. One, it gives the leaves a bit more realism. It gives you the opportunity to sort of clean up a couple of little edges if they're not quite sharp enough to suit you. but it also reflects the color that is in the flowers. And that is never a bad thing. If you can pull a little of that color into other aspects of the piece that you're working on, it just helps give it a little more realism. So a little bit of that reflected color, just tuck a little bit here and there on the edge of some leaves. It can be fairly strong if you want it to be. Don't be afraid to pop a little of that color in. It helps to give these leaves a lot more realism. And that red is also a great color over top of some of that shading. You can bring some of that red over top. It just deepens the green. It'll give you a really nice, sharp highlight. So I want a little more red here. There we go. So look at how pretty that is. Gives you really nice vibrancy on the leaves. I love that little bit of reflected color. It's just so pretty. So while we have all of that green on our palette, I like putting little strands of leaves, small leaves in the background. So you're going to thin some of your plantation pine. With a little bit of glaze. And we're going to tuck a few little small leaves here and there. I love these little indistinct leaves. They create a little visual texture, a little pattern, without being an in-your-face detail design. They just sort of fill up a little bit of negative space here and there. And you can use any size brush you want for this. You can use a 1/4 inch, a 3/8, a 1/2 inch. Don't be afraid to tuck in some little indistinct leaves. It just helps visually fill some space without adding a whole lot of weight. So I think we are ready to dry this. Now we're going to come back and add a little more to those leaves as we go, and when we start balancing things out a little bit. But for now, I think I am pleased with these. I love the texture of these. I find it just gives you a nice looking leaf. A lot of the time we have just very flat, basic leaves, float, shade, and highlight. I like the dimension and the texture that those overstrokes add to these leaves. So, time to clean up my palette, because I've got quite a mess going there. And I'll put all my greens away. Get them off my palette for the time being. I will keep my asphaltum. So we need, on the palette, we're going to be using a little bit of sunset gold. We're going to be using Red Alert. It's a great color. We're going to be using soft black. You can use black plum too. That's a color I have not used much of recently, but I really think we need to have some on the palette today. Black plum is a great shading color for reds. So is soft black. So we're going to be using a little bit of black plum just for deepening a few shadows. So I've got my black plum and some soft black. And I need my buttermilk. Remember our base color for our flowers.
I have something funny.
Do you?
Yes.
I'm afraid to ask.
So a small toddler is the closest thing you can have to a Pokemon.
Okay.
It follows you around. You love it dearly. And no one else can understand what it's saying. It's obedient only when it wants to be. The main difference is that training it to fight other toddlers is extremely frowned upon.
Yes. Yes, it is. And with good reason. Honestly.
Thank you, Sean.
Oh, Sean, I should have realized that. Sean is like a second son. I don't know. When Renee was a teenager, we had sort of a revolving door policy at our house. So we had an endless stream of teenagers in our house, usually on Friday, because it was pizza day.
It's pizza.
It was pizza. So we always had a minimum of 3 to 4 teenage boys at our house over the weekends at any given time. So I'm going to dry this really well because I got a couple of spots here I'm not thrilled with, but there we go. I like these leaves, and I like how they stand out on this background. It's very pretty. So we're going to start working on this orchid because this orchid is behind this orchid. So we're going to work on this one. And the color we're going to be using is Red Alert. And we're going to be using a double load technique for this, meaning that we're going to have 2 colors on the brush at one time. So 1/2 inch angled shader. I'm going to be working with a little bit of Joe Sonia's.
Can you bring your palette in so we could show them how it's loaded?
Yep.
Right on.
So I've got Red Alert and a little bit of, I think this is light buttermilk. And we're going to load the heel of the brush with the light buttermilk. And then the toe of the brush with the Red Alert. And we're going to blend on the palette until we get a nice transition between those 2 colors. Like so. And we're going to start with this little one up here. So I'm going to get up underneath the petal like so. And I'm pulling the brush on the chisel edge back towards the center. Of the flower. So it's going to create a little bit of texture, but that's sort of that float motion into those little curves, those ripples.
Can't find antique green. Any substitutes?
You can use an avocado green will work just fine. Lush green if you can find it. Lush green is a new decor art color. It's just about 1 value darker, a little deeper than antique green. So I've got that little bit of color in there. We're going to do the same thing to all of these petals. So darkest value to the outside edge.
Yvonne's asking, why do my angle brushes split when I try floating paint?
There's usually 2 things. 1, there's probably paint in the ferrule that's blocking the brush. And 2, not enough water. That's usually what causes it. If it's a new brush, it's usually the water thing. So that little chisel blend just creates a little bit of texture. But I always point that chisel back towards the center of the flower. Like towards the middle. Like so. And make sure you get the whole chisel edge of that brush on the surface. It makes life a whole bunch easier.
My coffee always tastes like paint.
I saw the cutest thing the other day. I have a cricket, and so I'm always playing with my little cricket Joy in particular. I just love that thing. But one of the things I discovered the other day, somebody had a sticker made for their coffee cup that said "not paint water," and then a sticker to go with it to go on your
Not
water
coffee?
dish that says "not coffee." I thought it was really cute because, we've all done that. Mind you, I haven't done that since I got a lid for my teacup. So that's why I use this one, so I don't put my...
Puts a lid on it for a reason.
I put a lid on it for the reason because I have been known to drop my brushes into my tea or my coffee.
Any substitutes for Red Alert?
Scarlet. Scarlet will work. Almost any red will work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could probably do this pattern with a purple, too.
With a purple, with a pink. I mean, almost anything. And just that little, wonky chisel blend is all it does is just help establish that texture at the edges of the petals. And it gives you a pretty transition too. Nice blended look. If you've ever done any kind of a one stroke, this type should come fairly easily, because in one stroke they use this method. Perhaps not as soft, but yeah, it's the same idea. Just creates that little texture going back to the edge of the flower, to the throat of the flower, that's all. So we have one orchid. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the one above it.
If you change the flower color to a cooler color, would you have to use the same color for the leaves?
No, not really.
Huh?
Because my greens tend not to be high yellow greens. They're quite earthy, so you can do a lot with that. And because I'm using a little bit of reflected color, whatever cooler tone that you use down here will be pulled onto the leaf anyway. So it's fairly easy to balance it out.
You're right. It would look good with a Bahama blue.
Yes. And mermaid tail. I'm in love with that color combination these days.
Word of advice, never sit on your spiked drying board.
Yes. No.
Ouch.
That would give you your Christmas goose early. I haven't seen a spiked drying board in a long time. They were very popular a number of years ago, but they're not so easy to find anymore. Genus of orchid. They come in a variety of colors and a variety of shapes, but they are beautiful.
Has anyone seen Robin Storm on? Been painting, was just wondering how she is.
Robin is recovering.
She's right there.
Oh, good.
She's watching.
Yeah. Hopefully she's gotten her discomfort under control. And that her shoulder is doing better.
What was it, rotator cuff surgery?
She had her shoulder repaired.
Oof. Not fun.
No. Any kind of joint surgery is not fun.
No, it's not. I got lucky. Mine was laparoscopic, so.
Yeah. It's still painful. I don't care.
Oh, the recovery time sucked.
Yeah.
No, laparoscopic or orthoscopic?
Laparoscopic.
Laparoscopic.
This technique I like how it adds a little bit of texture to these petals, and it adds the values that we wanted, the darker values out towards the edge right away.
No, arthroscopic.
Arthroscopic.
Yeah. That's what I had. Arthroscopic.
Turn this thing around so I can see what I'm doing. It's getting too far away from me.
Laparoscopic is the same thing, just not used on joints.
Aha.
Oh, it was rotator cuff.
Yep.
Fun. No.
How I've injured my rotator.
Yeah. And hurting it sucks.
Hurting it sucks. Damaging it to the point where it has to be surgically repaired. I just ugh. I can feel every inch of that. That just no.
Artho means joint. Oh, okay, that explains. It's Latin, isn't it? Not my forte. Latin is not my forte.
Nope.
And if anybody gets that joke,
I got it.
took you a minute.
It did. Oh boy, this petal's giving me grief here.
Is it? I don't think the surgery was that bad, really. Well, the surgery wasn't bad.
The recovery is.
It's the recovery that sucked.
Yeah.
My knee was used to a certain amount of give, and
It didn't have that no more.
it didn't have it anymore because I got new cartilage. And so it felt like my... I don't know. Ever had a joint that you want it to pop and it would feel better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. That feeling 24 hours a day.
Painful and stiff.
And then you worry if it does pop.
Yeah.
Oh, question from Faye Reed.
Hi, Faye.
Why did you leave the edges without red on the downward petals? Huh? Why did you leave the edge without red?
In here, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
guess so.
flip over going in there.
Ah.
Yeah. I put that in towards the end because I can clean up a whole bunch of little whoopsies.
I just noticed something.
What did you just notice?
There is no text in this.
I know.
You're not doing any lettering today.
No lettering today.
Wow.
I know, that never happens.
You usually do some sort of lettering.
Yeah. So I'm just taking a little float of, because we've got a lot of white here. I'll get a little float of sunset gold in here, just in the throat of these petals. And I make sure that I overlap all of that orangey, because I like the orangey tone. And we need a little bit of light in here.
The most discomfort I've had, for me, it would have been the titanium rod that went through all 4 knuckles on my right hand for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It was just to make sure that they stayed in line.
Uh-huh.
That was the most discomforting thing. I was unconscious for that one.
I would hope so.
I didn't want to.
Yeah.
That's
The
when
worst for me was
That's when my hand went through the car window.
car
and
window, yeah.
Yeah. Ended up breaking a bunch of knuckles and...
The worst for me was when I got burned. Having my hands debrided every day and a half
Ugh.
was awful. That was so painful.
I sound like Rice Krispies when I get up. Yep,
So do I.
I sound like cereal.
Yep. So I've got a little bit of yellow in the center. That's going to just give us some light in the center, some heat to keep that in. We're going to come down here, double load our brush yet again. A little bit of that red, a little bit of... So I want that bright red down here on these little buds. I want it fairly strong right at the tip of these flowers. There we go. It's twice. I've nearly forgotten about these buds. There we go. So we got that same color. I'm going to dry all of this.
I just realized.
What?
So they put you under to put a titanium rod in, but don't when they take it out.
Yeah. Well, putting it in would actually be far more invasive than taking it out.
Still requires a power drill.
I know.
I didn't realize power drills were part of, surgeons' tools.
Yep.
Didn't expect to see a DeWalt sitting on the surgery table.
Yeah, in, what was it, 2007. I made a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't paint for almost 3 months. Yeah. That was not fun.
2010 when I busted up my hand.
I had, I still have a few scars, but for the most part, the shark skin did its job. But I had deep tissue 2nd and 3rd degree burns from the tip of my finger to my elbow on my right hand.
Flash burns.
A flash burn, yeah. Steam.
Yeah.
It was not pleasant, and going back to the hospital every 2 days to have my hands debrided was not fun.
Ugh.
No, that was without a doubt. I'd go through childbirth again
Before debriding?
before I would ever have that done again. That was hellish. Pardon the expression, but that was hellish.
I woke up when they were pounding on my knee.
Oh.
Oh, during a knee surgery?
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
So a little bit of that yellow at the top of those little buds just to carry the color. And I'm going to dry it, and then we're going to start pulling this all together.
Didn't our neighbor just get her knee replaced?
Mm-hmm. She had a knee replacement, and she was out walking 2 days after she came home.
Yeah.
She was. But Cheryl also did months of preparatory work, too.
Yeah.
That's why you'd see her out.
Well, she was saying that her doctor would not allow the surgery to happen unless she met.
Oh, yeah.
certain
She had a
criteria.
threshold that she needed to meet in order to do the surgery.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, she worked her butt off for like 6 months to get ready for that surgery.
Yeah.
So, but it's also why she recovered so quickly.
Yes.
Because, I mean, she was home and she was using the walker for, I think, a day and a half. And after that, she was just like, phew,
Off to the
gone.
races.
She was off to the races. And now there's no stopping her.
Yeah.
So I'm switching to a smaller angled shader because I'm going to start doing a little more detail work in here. We've established the color and the shape and the ruffles. So we know where everything is, but now we have to actually start making these flowers come together. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of Red Alert on my brush, and you see these ruffles in here. The deep one is the deep one. And I wanted to show you what a little bit of black plum mixed with your red will do.
I am not getting the chat refreshed often enough.
So I'm just going into some of those little ripples and putting a little float. I'm just picking up a touch of that black plum and mixing it with my and now look what happens when you go back and deepen the shadows in some of those little ripples in the low one. When you put that little ripple in there, see what that little shadow does? It accentuates that ripple effect. This is where that sort of fastidious stuff comes in. So there are some flip overs in this piece. And so I'm going to use that same shading color that we used in those little dips. We're going to put a little shadow right along that edge. And this is going to separate those petals really nicely. Now that color is heavily thin, so it's going to allow all of those pretty yellows in behind there to stay right where we put them. Just changes them slightly, that's all. But now our orchid has become a little bit more defined. So this is where things sort of start to come to life a little bit. We're going to take a little of that. There's a round portion in the inside of our flower here. I'm just going to base coat it with a little bit of light buttermilk because I want it to be a little on the bright side. And then I'm going to base coat it with that yellow, that sunset gold. Such a pretty color. So now we're ready to start putting together a few of these little flip overs. So I'm using my round brush. Remember the one that we used to do those. I'm pick up a little of that light buttermilk or buttermilk. And I'm going to pick up a little of that same orange, that Red Alert. And I want it to be a little on the streaky side. but it's going to have a fair amount of that light buttermilk in it. So we're going to start with this right here on the center, and I'm going to overlap a little too much water in there. So we've got a little flip over on the orchid. Now it comes down until it joins the edge of the petal. And we have one here as well. So we've got some nifty little flip overs. There's not quite bright enough over here. The nice part is that you can always overstroke it. Doesn't hurt. And then we're going to come up here and do the same thing to this one.
Apparently they're calling Robin Storm Lefty now.
Lefty. So this orchid actually comes together pretty quick. And that flip over does a world. Makes a world of difference. And I like doing the flip overs with a dirty brush, having that little bit of the colors that are already existing in the orchid. It just works out much nicer. There we go. So I'm going to come up and very quickly do the same thing to our orchid up top. So again, I'm using just a little bit of that black plum mixed with my red alert to give me that nice deep shadow in some of these little ripples. It's fast and it works up quite easily. I do like that black plum for those deeper shadows because it has a lot of red in it. And even though it's supposed to be a purple, it actually has more like a burgundy tone to it. So it works well with the reds.
I asked Santa for painter's pyramids.
Painter's pyramids. Great little tool, especially when you're doing large pieces. The fellow that invented them is a friend of mine. His name is Mike Bucci. Great guy.
Yeah, you actually still have some of the prototypes, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. Those are the bright yellow ones.
I had the bright yellow and red, and I met Mike when he was doing his first trade show, National Hardware Show.
Oh, wow.
And he had a tabletop display with a whole bunch of these little brightly colored pyramids all over the place. And he had a little TV running a video showing how these painters' pyramids were done. And it was all new to him. And I was fascinated by these things. I thought they were just the coolest things since cookies. And they filled a need.
Mm-hmm.
And because I worked in the hardware and the construction industry, I had a lot of friends at that show. And I kept dragging them over to his booth, and he thought I was some sort of stalker. But he ended up with some pretty good sales at that show. But we had a lot of fun, and the funny part is that he went and did another show a few weeks later, and I was there.
And you can move them around. You can use multiple together.
Yep.
You can stack them.
You can even connect them.
You can connect them.
Yeah, like it's like Lego blocks for grown-ups.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can paint furniture with them. You can paint small items like she's
Yep.
working on, down to, well, maybe not.
Oh yeah, anything that you need to get elevated so that you can work on it. The neat part about a painter's pyramid is that the paint doesn't stick to it. And so if you've got one side that's wet and you want to paint the other side, you can literally take the wet side, put it on the pyramid, and it's not going to mar the paint. It's not going to hurt the paint in any way, so that you can keep working. They're just a very clever design. Mike is a very clever fellow. So I'm just tucking a few things in, deepening a few little shadows. Because I can. And I'm going to come into my center.
Painter's pyramids are available at Lee Valley.
Yep.
You can get them in Home
You can
Depot.
get Home Depot has them.
Yeah.
True Value
Home
Hardware.
Depot.
Home Depot. True Value
There's-
Hardware.
Are they at Home Hardware?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And True Value Hardware. You can get them almost anywhere.
Canadian Tire.
Canadian Tire has them. I have one of his, the painter's pyramid on a turntable
Yeah.
that can be mounted to a tabletop so that you can put something heavy on it and turn it. It was very clever.
I remember that. You
Yeah.
still have it.
I still have it.
Still useful.
Mm-hmm.
Not good for automotive work, though.
Well, no, they're not designed. They're meant for,
Crafting industry.
well, for the painting industry, putting a piece of furniture on it
Yeah.
to turn it while you're working.
Now, if they could come up with one for the automotive industry, that'd be cool.
Oh, they have them. Just not for the home.
Yeah.
Not for the guy working.
Hang it
Yep.
and spray the where the sawhorse was.
Yep. Okay. Ooh, I whoopsied. There we go.
Never heard of them before. I guess I have to go check out Home Depot. Home Depot. Why have the T there? If you're not gonna use it, shouldn't be there.
What are you talking about?
Home Depot.
Oh.
Home Depot.
Mm-hmm.
Home Depot.
Yep.
If you're not gonna say it, don't put it in the word. The PH is silent. Then don't put it in there. Words confuse me. It just doesn't make sense. If you're not going to use them, why have them there?
That could be said for a lot of things.
Exactly. Should be the saying of, you know, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah. Ta-da. So this is almost dry, and now we're going to just start doing all of the fun stuff. All the little details. All of these little nifty bits.
Get out of town.
What?
Wow. Okay.
What?
Well, I see the YouTube algorithm is working.
Mm-hmm.
We have a newcomer.
Cool.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Janny? Janane.
Okay. Janie.
Janie? That says Janie? Janie. Okay. Sure. Man. Stop moving. Oh, she's from India.
Hello. Welcome.
YouTube recommended this, and I'm loving the art.
I'm so glad. Thanks for joining us. I'll give you a heads up right now that
There's some
we don't
crazy
always
people
paint.
here.
There is, but you know what? We're all painters. The artwork varies. I will say that. Sometimes we're flowers. Sometimes we're glitter in this.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
From the southern part of India. Oh, cool.
So southern, would that be like Goa area?
Tamil Nadu?
Okay, out comes the Google.
Here comes Google. Not familiar.
We're in eastern Canada, where it is currently snowing and chilly. And I can guarantee you the weather is nothing like what you have in India. So we're going to start deepening a whole bunch of shadows. I'm going to...
Very southern. Tamil Nadu. Okay. Oh, it's coastal.
Ooh.
It's very southern, near Sri Lanka.
Oh, okay. So I'm using just a brush mix of that black plum and the I want to deepen a few things. And even though we are covering up a lot of that yellow back there, it still has an impact on what we're doing. And it will become apparent as we go here. So I wanted to deepen a few of these things.
Did I miss the dinner menu? No, we're having gumbo.
We're having gumbo tonight.
Gumbo.
These things make Renee very happy.
I love gumbo. I love Creole cuisine.
It's been simmering away up there. I have some nice jumbo prawns too to throw in there.
The internet makes it a small world.
Doesn't it?
Yes, it does. We have people from France, Australia, now India.
Yep.
The
Netherlands.
Israel. Israel. We got people from all over the world here. And the common thing is art.
Yeah, we all love to paint.
We all love to paint. See cutesy coffee mugs.
Yeah, whatever I happen to be in the mood for, I think.
Creepy gingerbread men.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that.
Zombie bunnies.
Zombie bunnies, yeah.
We're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I'm kind of... I'm a believer that, paint what you love. You will note I haven't painted any spiders.
I don't know why.
I hate spiders. That's why. So I'm just going up with a little bit of that thinned... You can use soft black too. If you don't have black plum, go ahead and use soft black. I've used both. It works. Both have a red undertone to them. So they work beautifully for this. And this is just how I'm separating and deepening all of these petals.
Yes, we start 12 noon Eastern Standard Time.
Yep, every Saturday.
Every Saturday. Including Christmas Eve.
Yep.
Just saying.
We're going to be doing some fun things Christmas Eve. Nothing too strenuous. Going to do some fun little...
Bob seems to be hiding today.
No, where is Bob? There he is.
Yeah, Bob's nearby.
Bob's nearby. Bob is starting to look a little worse for wear.
Down. There he is. There's Bob.
There's Bob. He's starting to look a little worse for wear.
Bob is the creepy gingerbread man.
Yeah. He just sort of happened by accident and,
Completely unintentional.
Yeah. The creepy part is the white eyeballs.
Yeah.
That just sort of seem to be bugging out of his head.
Or they actually look sunken.
I was, that reminds me.
Oh.
So you know how I like to have little giveaways, things to tuck into orders and whatnot.
Yes.
Well,
closer to the microphone.
I found a wonderful designer on Redbubble.
What is Redbubble?
Redbubble, it's an art site. You can get t-shirts and all sorts of fun things.
That's the one I got your t-shirt from.
That's the one. Yeah. Anyway, I was searching for something really fun for a giveaway and like to tuck into orders and whatnot in the new year. And I found this fellow. I have zombie cookies.
What?
I found zombie cookie stickers. They're awesome. Go to Redbubble and type. They're great. They're super cute.
The walking bread.
I had way too much fun on that site.
Apparently there's a Bob Ross zombie.
Yes.
Happy little accident.
Yeah. I had entirely too much fun on there. So, needless to say, we've got new giveaways coming.
They're Bob's?
In the new year. They are Bob's, yes. They're zombie cookies. They're flipping awesome.
Is that the one with the worms coming out of them?
Yes!
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got a little carried away. I thought he was great. So, we're going to put some highlights
show them
on some of these. I know. Is he not awesome? Yep. So like I said, I got a little carried away, and he's flipping awesome. So we're using a little bit of warm white, and it's just a quick chisel blend. Nothing fancy. Don't panic over it. Just little highlights here and there, and they're going to go opposite. Remember the dip? The shadow went in the dip. We're going to put the highlight on the other side. So you can float it in if you want to. If you're more comfortable with the floats, go ahead. It's just, we want them all to sort of radiate back towards the center. So don't panic. Don't get too bent out of shape about it, because it's just a highlight. See what I mean? Just as long as they all radiate back to the same place, they don't have to be perfect. Their direction is more important.
Zombie cookie.
I couldn't resist.
You ordered a bunch of them?
I ordered 100 of them.
100 of them?
Yeah, so 100 people are going to get
zombie cookies.
Zombie cookies. I couldn't help myself.
That $5 a pop?
Oh, no. I got them wholesale.
You got them wholesale? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like $2.50 if you buy 10.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I couldn't help myself. They were just too cute.
Any other ones?
Oh, they had, like, there's a Santa on there that's hilarious. Don't panic. Which one did you see?
Should have ordered these ones.
Which ones? Oh, those are cute too. I like the zombie cookie. That one's funny. The zombie cookie just cracked me up. I had to do it.
Zombie donut.
Yeah, those ones, they're all cute. They're really cute, but I just the zombie cookie just did me in. I had to have it. I know. I like to make sure that there's, something fun in their orders when they get them, that there's, it's not just the stuff that they asked for, that they get, something fun to play with. And I was looking for something different, and I found that. And I had a moment of weakness.
My happy little accidents don't sound like Bob's. Mine are more filled with...
Okay.
Yep. I get what you mean.
Yeah. So the center part of that flower there, I know I sort of skimmed over it. I took a little bit of orange flame and just put a little blush of color on that yellow part in the center. And now I've got highlights on those petals. I'm happy with that. I'm going to grab my bigger angled shader because I want to start deepening some of these, and we're going to use that little bit of, this is where my liner or my rigger comes in. I'm going to use a little bit of that black plum. Put that on my palette, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that red. I want to make a deep purpley, orangey, muddy color. Muddy purple red, for lack of a better term.
Oh no, she's going to put those in like random orders.
Yeah, they're just...
It's not the first 100 people. It's going to be just...
Yeah, we'll just tuck them in. Because we have stencils. We've got little wood pieces that we had made. We've got... There's a whole bunch of stuff that, we just randomly throw a bunch into orders. So everybody gets something fun. But it might be cool to add that. So I'm just adding a few dots of that brush mix of that black plum and a little bit of red. And I want to create just a little texture, those little dots in the centers of the flowers. I don't know how long it'll take those to get here, but I was just so excited that I found them. And we're having a shortage of packaging, shipping materials.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying desperately to get my hands on bubble wrap mailers. And they are not easy to find right now.
I already have a zombie bub.
Yep.
It sits over the microphone. And it's actually titled Zombie Cookies.
Yep.
He sits in a teacup.
Yep. I've had requests to do another teacup. I haven't done one, but...
What do you mean, no sound? My picture is buffering occasionally. Is there a setting I need to check on my computer? No, it's usually just backed up internet.
Yeah.
We are on a weekend at a peak hour, so
yeah,
you could be...
Could just be the local usage and your internet service.
Yeah.
And
if you click the little cog in the bottom corner and select a lower resolution, it will keep you with us, but it won't be as detailed or as clear.
Yeah.
There's some win some, lose some with that one.
Yep.
That sounds like a dog on the move.
It does indeed. So I like these little dots, but they need to be random in size. You know, closer to the throat, get them closer together. And a variety of sizes. And just let them fade out. Let them get smaller as they go out towards the edge of the thing. This just gives them a little more texture, a little more interest. And I'm going to dry this. The edge step. There we go. So I want to deepen the throat of these flowers. I'm going to do that with a little bit of that black plum. And you're going to go right over top of all of those little dots that you just made. Because we want these to feel more like they're in the petal than on the petal. And then deepen that. This is a chance to deepen all of those little floats, those flip overs.
Perfection is to be avoided at all costs.
Yes.
Neatness doesn't count.
There we go.
I love your saying perfectionism is to be avoided at all costs. It really helped me with my recovery after 4 years with a brilliant but perfectionist teacher.
Well, I use that expression mainly because it just gives you permission to not fuss with things.
It's called trial and error.
Trial and error. It's
the best teacher.
Making those mistakes, you learn more. But people always, especially when you're first starting to paint, everybody expects themselves to be able to be Michelangelo. And that's just, one, it's unreasonable. And it's self-destructive and counterproductive. If you expect people to get things absolutely perfect the first time out, and they don't, the chances that they will come back and do it again are slim because they already feel like they've failed. And that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody, especially when, you know, in my case, a teacher's been painting for 40 plus years. I know. I always look at painting and art like driving a car or operating a computer. You weren't an expert when you started out. Mm-hmm. You know, the first time you sat in front of a computer, you didn't know which end was up. You know, how do I turn this on was the big question. You know,
should I turn this on?
Yeah, should I turn this on? Or driving a car. You're terrified sitting in the driver's seat for the first time.
Yeah.
So your expectations of yourself should not be that high. And I think it's an unfair amount of pressure to put on somebody when they're first picking up a paintbrush for the first time. So, you knew it was bound to happen. There has to be asphaltum on these flowers, or, you know, I didn't paint them. So I'm going to use a little bit of asphaltum, and this is where I like separating these petals, those little flip overs, you know, and I deepen a few things and adjust a few things. It's heavily thinned. I'm just tucking it a little bit here and there. Just deepens things. We're going to do the same thing to these leaves. Don't forget, come down those leaves, all those little shadows and whatnot. Go in and deepen those shadows. The other thing you might notice, I'm not really worrying about placement. I'm just tucking them in. Don't beat yourself up. A few little shadows here and there.
What is the name of the liner brush you use?
I use a 10-aught Dynasty Micron extra long detail liner. That's my liner brush. This is a rigger. I use this for everything. Lettering. I use riggers, liners. When you read one of my patterns, there's generally 5 or 6 brushes. I don't use 5 million different brushes. I'll have 2 sizes angled shader, a 1/2 inch and a 3/8, a 10-aught extra long detail liner, a fugly brush, and sometimes a mop, sometimes a round, sometimes a filbert, and almost always a number 2 or a 0 rigger. And that's about it. I don't use 5 million brushes.
Tabletop says different.
This is what's in front of me when I'm painting. This is it. Never mind how many are over there. Just
Ignore those.
Ignore those. Never you mind.
Ignore the hundreds of different brushes over here.
But for the most part.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Smart Alec. So I'm going to add a little highlighted detail right at the edge underneath that center. I like to put a little row of dots. Doop, 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 doop. Right there.
And I'm zoom out.
And then, as always, I like adding little ruffly details to things because that's just me. I'm going to use my extra long detail liner, a little bit of thinned warm white, a little bit of red. Stop chuckling. Jeez. Anybody want a son? Going cheap. So I like doing this. You've seen me do this all the time. I do this all the time. I like using my liner brush to add roughly edges to things. And it does a couple of things. It just softens the edges of these so they don't look quite so hard-edged. And I do this all the time with almost everything I paint. I just like the look of it. Just makes things a bit more interesting. Not to mention, you can hide a multitude of sins with this scribbly little line. Mm-hmm. This is also why I like that 10-aught, because it gives you such a nice fine line. So it doesn't look quite so heavy-handed. My stomach is rumbling. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing to all of these leaves. I'm going to use a little bit of that sprout. I like a lighter value green for this. And a little bit of that warm white. Don't forget that warm white. Or that light buttermilk, whatever you have on the table. We're just making a slightly lighter value of that green. Heavily thinned, because we want this to be super fine. And we're going to add just that just like I usually do with all my leaves, that little fine line around the outside edge.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a great idea.
What's that?
You need to create a Tracy Moreau package of brushes.
Yep.
With the brush guys.
Yes.
I now have all the ones you normally use, but I spent a fortune on shipping, buying them separately.
Yeah.
You should go talk to the brush guys.
I should talk to.
Like, hey. Nah. This looks like a Tracy Moreau package.
I somehow I somehow think that Stuart would be okay with that.
It would sell brushes.
It would.
I think that's a great idea.
Yep. So remember all of our little stroked in leaves that we have out here? We're going to do the same thing to them. I'm going to just lightly stroke in some stems. And we're going to give them a little bit more definition by just doing that scribbly outline. Someone asked me the other day, how do I do that with a liner brush? The trick is having your paint nicely thinned. That's the trick. You don't need to have a ton of paint in your brush. You just need to have it so that it flows off the brush. That's the big thing. So give it a stem and then squiggly line like so. And then these ones down here, we need a little bit of plantation pine.
The faux squirrels? Did the brush guy stop selling faux squirrel?
No?
No. They shouldn't have. Especially Tracy's fugly brush.
My fugly brush, my...
You could probably crack off a 6-brush set.
Easily.
Easily. But that's what you normally use, is like those...
6 brushes, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have those 6 brushes, you can paint almost anything in mine. So I'm just connecting these buds with a little bit of plantation pine, and I'm going to give them just a little cap. Just with a thin stroke of like so. And I'm going to use a little bit of that thinned light buttermilk. I want to give these a little highlight at the tip. So I'm just going to put a thin stroke of warm white right there. Now you can texture up in here a little bit more if you want to. Use a small angled shader and just tuck in a few more little shaped leaves. You know, like this. Just to fill in and give it a little more grounding if you want. Those little leaves do wonders to fill up negative space. But there you go. And the only thing left for this one, I'll paint the sides probably with asphaltum or soft black to finish off the edges. And then I'll grab my favorite little gold paint pen and my scribblature in the bottom. And that is your Cattleya.
Cattleya.
Fun, works up pretty quick. It's not a difficult paint. It's simple highlighting, but the big trick is getting that texture at the edges of the petals, and you do that with that double load nut. It's what gives you a great look.
I'm going to bring up the wheel here in a second.
Oh, right. We almost forgot about that. There we go. Now I'm working on my second cup of tea.
That is not it.
Oh. So we have 3 giveaways today. We have 3 5-brush sets of Dynasty Faux Squirrel brushes, a couple of specialty brushes, some rounds, a nice little liner brush, and I believe it's a pregnant liner. So it's a really nice one with a nice fat little belly. It's a great brush for doing a long, heavily fine, really great liner brush. So you'll have some fun with that. There are some great surfaces in there from stockade.ca. It's a fabulous little birdhouse sled. It's so cute. And we have a wonderful barbed wire surface from Southern Ridge Trading is in there. Plus, of course, there's some other goodies just from us. So we threw those in. So there's 3 sets of those. Approximate retail value is about $50 a piece. Not bad.
Yay, we got the wheel.
And so he's going to fill up the wheel. Now, to get your name on the wheel, all you have to do is send a comment, like us, share it, hit the subscribe button. Just participate. That's all we ask. That's all you have to do. Your name goes on it. Renee he copies and pastes it from the chat on both Facebook and on YouTube, so it should be well full by now.
Well, we have 246 names this week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of names.
That's a lot of names. That's a big wheel.
It is a big wheel. It's still in alphabetical order, so I'm going to give that a shuffle here in a second. If I can find the mouse. There we go. Give it a couple shuffles. There we go.
So for next Saturday, we're going to be on same time, same bat channel as always. We're not going to. It's not going to be a big live. Not even going to be all that involved. We're going to have a little bit of fun. There will be a pattern. I got to finish painting up what I'm working on. I never have enough time to do everything. But I will finish that up. It'll be up. It will be posted on Monday. I've been playing with some fun ideas involving snowmen and gingerbread cookies and a bunch of stuff. I can't seem to get Christmas out of my system this time around. So we got some fun stuff coming up in the new year. We're going to be doing some really over the top pieces. So brace yourselves.
Here it comes. Here we go. Who wins?
Who wins?
Who wins? Who wins? Alexis Isles?
Alexis.
Yes.
Yes. So in order to send us your shipping information, and please do send us your shipping information because I can't mail it out to you unless I know where I'm sending it. So just go to the front page of my website at tracymoreau.net and click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner and send us off your shipping information. If you can't find the speech bubble, just go to contact us and send it through there.
And let's remove that name. There we go.
We only hang on to those prizes for 2 weeks, and after that, they go back in. If they're not claimed or if we don't have shipping information, they go back into the bin.
Binning. Kim Ish.
Excellent, Miss Kim.
Kim Ish.
Kim is my skull lover.
Oh,
She loves all things Scully.
Scully.
So Kim, so we have one more.
One more.
Yep.
Remove. Clink. And 2.
Did
That's
I make my brooch? Yes. The little mitten. Yes, I did. I made a bunch of these. I think they're cute. They're fun.
And Pam Stover.
Oh, right on. Pam hasn't won in quite a while. Excellent.
Right on. There we go. Those are your winners.
Awesome sauce. So Monday, keep your eyes peeled for our Christmas Eve piece. And we're going to have a bunch of giveaways because I do have a bunch of stuff still to give away. So we'll do a bunch of giveaways and just enjoy a little bit of time together. So if you feel like making some gift tags, you don't need to have a wood surface. That's the fun part about this one. You can work with some watercolor paper. Or you can use whatever you have on hand. The designs are very flexible, so don't worry about having just the perfect surface because there isn't really one. So we're going to have some fun with that. And I know that this week can be very stressful for everybody. So take a few minutes to just take a deep breath, go to your paint room, play with some paint, even if it's just to sit and doodle and flip through a painting book or your favorite magazine. Do that. Just take a deep breath and try not to let the holidays wear you out. Do a little bit every day instead of trying to get it all done in one fell swoop. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been planning my baking all week. I am
Monday?
Monday.
Monday. What's going on Monday?
Not this Monday.
Not this Monday.
Next Monday. Not
What about next Monday?
after Christmas. We
about it?
have our members class on Tuesday.
Yeah, on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Nothing going on
Monday.
No, we have a pattern for you on Monday. That's all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
What time Monday? When she puts it up.
Yep. It just goes up on the website.
It'll be there.
Yep. And there is also a new free printable on the website. So if you've been downloading them, there's a new holiday printable up on the website. You can go download that. They're free of charge. There's a whole bunch of printables. I have to soon start taking some of them down because we're running out of space. So,
You filled up a server?
well, my servers get a little tight, and I have to.
Might have to take
There's over 500 patterns and printables on my website right now, so I have to either buy a bigger server or I don't want it to get too big because then it's too much to go through. So,
Yeah.
but so check out the website. We've got some new patterns up. We put up the snowman mug. He's super cute. I had fun with him. Somebody told me they wanted a penguin, so I started playing with that the other day. Like I didn't have enough ideas. And what was the other thing I did on the website? New patterns up. Yeah. Oh, and the new kits. We've got kits ready. So the new kits for those little gingerbread mugs, the cocoa and the the little snowman. I think he's cute. So we've got the kits ready for those. We've got all of the knit stencils are in. We've got all of the cow surfaces, all of the cattle tags are in. So we have a whole bunch of everything right now. Still waiting on some signs, but we've got some of that coming in. And what else? Stamps are on sale and print patterns are on sale. So some of the print patterns will be coming off of the website. Just because once they're gone, they're going to be gone. Just take them down for a while because they just don't do as well as they used to. That does not mean that they're not available at all. So if you something in particular you're looking for, please just let me know. We're happy to print one off if you need it. What else?
That's it?
I think that's it.
We'll see you at Christmas Eve.
We'll see you Christmas Eve. So in the meantime, thanks for joining us as you always do. We appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, just hit that big old red subscribe button and turn on your bell notifications so it notifies you whenever we go live and when we post new video. And watch the Facebook page and the Tracy Morrow Facebook page for launches of new patterns and new products and new stencils because we've got some of those coming up soon too. And in the meantime, don't forget, take a breath, relax, and for heaven's sake, please stay safe. Mwah. We love you. We'll see you Christmas Eve.
Pet your dog.
Pet your dog.